Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by my loyal co-host and friend, Brendan Taliski, all the way from the Central Coast. What's doing, Brendo?
Chapo, going good, brother. How you been, mate?
Mate, not too bad, mate. We're going to look at doing a review on Chasing Glory. And that's that latest documentary out by the master, Matt Lucas, who's done some great documentaries over the year, including the one about Charlie Gallico, the man known as Reggie Rabbit in the rabbit suit, and also the one about reinstatement where we were punted out of the cop and brought back into it. He does a great job, Matty Lucas. You've had him at your joint, haven't you?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, probably about maybe 2.5 years ago, he come around to my place. But yeah, it was pretty rewarding to get on and have a chat about the rabbits. But yeah, I was just a big rap on the sort of bloke Matt was, mate, and a great guy to have working for our club. And he's done some awesome work, mate, with Georgie Piggins. Obviously, he's done that great thing with the probably the premiership team in 2014, should I say. And, mate, he's just kicking goals with our club, and let's hope he hangs around long term.
Yeah, and just having a look at it the other day, it was put out by the mighty Rabbitohs. First, the members got to see it first, which was great. A bit of a perk of being a member of the Rabbitohs. And I really loved it. And the first thing that stands out is the impact that Michael Maguire made straight away. As soon as he got to the club, he turned them into a real steely group. He worked them super hard, mate.
Yeah, mate, it was definitely great to watch. A great viewing. I mean, Madge Maguire really pushed that squad as hard as he could. It was great to hear from guys like Chris McQueen and Dave Tyrrell, who at the time, to be fair, were probably only fringe first graders. And Madge pretty much let them know with those road runs and the army camps and that if you want to play first grade and you just want to ultimately win a comp, you're going to have to start pushing yourselves a lot harder. And that's what they did. And they got the rewards there, chaps, at the back end of that 2014 season, mate.
Yeah, I like the way they peeled it back to sort of late 2011, 2012. And it was a huge season, 2012, because we hadn't been in the top four since 89. And to play in that big prelim with the Dogs with 70,000 there, I remember being there. And Renault's big turning point was Renault's hammy. So I'm glad they touched on all that sort of stuff. But they also had a little bit on a few different players, which we might touch on. And we'll have a look at the great Johnny Sutton there, mate. Look, obviously, there's a picture there by Boo Bailey in the Daily Telegraph there. The great Johnny Sutton. He was really instrumental, and it sounds like he was a real leader. And whenever he spoke, the group really listened. I think Benny Lowe reiterated that a few times, and he was the one that got to lift the trophy at the back end of 2014, mate.
Yeah, mate, Johnny Sutton, mate, 336 games, premiership winning captain. He'd be my favourite rabbit of all time, chaps, Johnny Sutton. I know that's a big call, mate, but he's my favourite of all time, mate. He just understands everything this club. He understands everything that we stand for, and mate, yeah, he just knows the rabbits. And to have him up there on that podium in October of 2014 with that trophy above his head, mate, was an iconic moment for all Rabbitoh supporters.
Yeah, certainly was. Johnny Sutton, he obviously played a lot of his career in the halves, but made way for Luke Keary. And I'm glad they featured Luke Keary in it. Geez, what a tough little bugger Luke Keary is. There's some footage of him trying to wrestle one of the Burgess twins, getting chucked around like a rag doll, and he just kept coming, the rabid little dog. And look at the career he ended up having. It was a huge influence on the mighty Rabbitohs back then. Look, another one that came to the club and really changed things was Sammy Burgess, mate. His impact on that 2014 roster was nothing to be denied. And obviously, I forgot about the fact that he announced going to England prior to that season. And that's when he went over to rugby union.
Yeah, well, mate, if you have a look at any premiership winning team, I mean, Penrith had it for the last few years with Fisher Harris. You've got to have that alpha male. You've got to have the big dog. And the big dog's got to lead the rest of the pack. And I think Sam Burgess' career at the Rabbitohs, that's what he did, mate. He led the pack, and he was our alpha male, and he was our big dog. And he put fear into the opposition, and people didn't want to play against Big Sammy. And, mate, what a weapon he was for our football club, I mean.
No, mate, he used to just bash people, mate. He was basically get out of my way. And he was skillful. I think people forget not only was he a real tough bastard, he was very skillful. He had a nice late offload on him. He had some late footwork. He could play through the line a fair bit. Not so much before the line. He was a real person that played through the line with a late offload or a ball with someone around his ankles like that. But yeah, he was certainly one of the real leaders there. And Isaac Luke, you probably saw that picture come up on the screen there. Bully, he left at the late 2:15, but he was someone we got over from Canterbury as a winger. I think Mark Hughes got him over, and I remember going out and watching him a few times in the lower grades, and he just had something different. And he was just a powerhouse. I know he didn't play in the grand final due to that spear tackle on Sonny Bill the week before, but he was a big part of those 3 or 4 years when we made the top four, mate.
Yeah, mate, Isaac Luke. I was at a game back in 2007. It was only a couple of games after he debuted. I'm pretty sure we were playing Cronulla, and it was only about his second or third game of first grade. And, mate, he got up underneath the ball on Ben Pomeroy, who was probably about 105 kilo centre at the time for Cronulla, and just picked him up, mate, drove him back about 12 or 13 metres and slammed him into the turf. And I remember telling me mate there that day, I said to my mate, this guy is going to be a terrific footballer for the Rabbits. He'll be the starting hooker before too long. And it wasn't very long, mate. His career just kept progressing. Before you knew it, I think probably 2008, he was playing for the Kiwis, playing for New Zealand already in only his second year in first grade, mate. He is one hell of a footballer, Chaps, Isaac Luke.
He's so powerful. Used to run over the top of people and get into the backfield. And two times he scored from 40 or 50 out. So he hasn't got that lightning Damien Cook speed, but he still had a bit of speed when he was in his prime. Greg Inglis is a fair feature in it. GI, we're that lucky to get him. At the back end of 210, early 211 when he came over. I think Richo explains that the NRL didn't think we could fit him into the cap, and unfortunately, his cousin, the great Bow champion, the legend himself, he had to make way, and it was a bit sad, but he did come back and was part of that 214 squad, and it showed we had a bit of depth too in 214.
Yeah, mate, a lot of people probably don't realise the depth we had in 2014, like guys like Joel Reddy, Lottie Takiri, who played in that grand final. We had quite a lot of depth in the outside backs. Kirasomi Ava'a, his run didn't start until the back end of that 2014 season. And, mate, he just went to a new level in that back end of that 2014 season, heading towards the premiership. And, yeah, I think the depth back then was probably lost on a lot of our supporters. We had a lot of seasoned first graders that could have been in that side. I mean, you look at the Nathan Merritt story. Very unlucky to miss a jersey in that grand final. But, I mean, have a look at what Lottie Takiri did in that final series, Chaps.
Yeah, Nathan Merritt had a huge impact on our team for many, many years, for 10-plus years there. And then, obviously, 212, 213, we had those successful years. Merritt scored some amazing tries and even a couple in some semi-finals. So he was just someone that, yeah, another one. It's great to hear Mero's voice feature. I think when they put it out, the first promo, it's the first thing I wrote. And I had over 100 likes on the comment on Instagram. So he's a real popular guy, Nathan Merritt. And I'm glad that he's back and a part of it. And it was good to see him at training this year. I got a photo of him and a couple of boys from Redfern, Buddy Gordon and Tricky Trindle and the crew. Great to see them down there at training. I'd like to see him get more involved. Nathan Merritt, as he gets his fitness and his health back, he's a real club legend. Look, that training camp they went through, that just looked absolutely brutal. And it just tells you everything you need to know about a winning culture and a winning team, that the hard work's got to be done. Pre-season, we had an awful pre-season last year. Nothing went right. Went into the start of the off-season with a lot of rumours and murmurs and letting go of Sam and a few other guys in and amongst the club. Really unstable. Injuries were just mounting up time and time again. But I think Wayne Bennett will get this team as strong and as fit as they need to be. Trent Elkin, he'll be another one. But yeah, what a great documentary it was, mate.
Oh, mate, I love the documentary. And another guy that was mentioned on there a couple of times, and he's probably a bit lost on our supporters because his name's not Greg Inglis or Sam Burgess, and he wasn't there in the 2014 season, but he was there in the lead up to it, and that was Mick Crocker, Chaps. Oh, yeah. I think Michael Crocker was huge for our culture, and And when I first seen him run out for the Rabbits on the Sydney cricket ground with the head taped up, and I grew up watching him play for Melbourne, watching him play for the Roosters, watching him play in finals every year and grand finals. And then all of a sudden we have this real hard bloke by the name of Mick Crocker driving the culture at the Rabbitohs, mate. And I think if you spoke to guys possibly like Jace Clark, Chris McQueen, and these guys coming through, I think, they'd credit Crocker for the careers they've had.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's a big influence on Jason Clark's career. No doubt about it. Jason was coming up. He was sort of at the back end of his career. And you heard Ben Teo say, look, I couldn't believe we were wrestling after a full day's training with that intensity. And Mick Crocker said, mate, that's just what we do here, mate. That's our culture. And that's the reason why we're so successful in that period. We were able to lift the trophy. And we might leave it there, Brendo, but thanks for joining us, mate. I know I think someone's about to trick or treat me just then. I could hear a few little girls and boys out the front there. It's Halloween this afternoon. I'm sure you'll get a couple of knocks on the door up there at Terrigal, mate.
Yeah, mate, definitely. Yeah, I've got a couple of Cooper's Reds in the fridge for the adults, but no lollies, Chapo.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I got a couple of snakes there for the kids, and might open up a bottle of Plonk later. Why not? But thank you for joining us for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs, Brendan.
Cheers, chaps. It's been a pleasure. Go the Bunnies.
Go the mighty Rabbitohs.